Hey guys, today's goal for us is to figure out how to divide fractions. So the good news is that after we make a few changes here, it'll be the same procedure as we have learned for multiplying fractions. So let's just look at our first example here. We've got 2/3 divided by 1/6. So we're going to take our fraction, we're going to keep the first one just the way it is, so 2/3 won't change. We're going to change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and then we're going to flip or use the reciprocal of the second fraction. So the first one stays the same, we keep it. The operation changes, and then the last one flips. So that's how we set up a division problem in fractions. So keep the first fraction, change the operation, flip the second fraction, the fraction you're dividing by. So that looks like this over here. We'll have 2/3 times, keep, change, flip, 6/1. Now we can do everything that we have done with fractions, but not until we make this change should we do any of these steps. So I see that I can simplify both the 3 and the 6 by dividing both of those by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2. And now I can multiply straight across. 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. And of course 4/1 equals 4. So we're saying that in the fraction 2/3, if we broke that up into 1/6 pieces, we would have 4 of them. All right, so keep, change, flip is going to be our method here. Let's look at our second fraction problem here. We've got 3/4, keep, divide, changes to multiply, flip the second fraction. Look for pieces to simplify. We can simplify here. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. And so our answer is 3/2. Of course, that's an improper fraction. And so we'll see how many times 2 can divide into 3. Remember, that looks like this. 3 divided by 2. 2 divides into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract, and my leftovers are 1. And so my whole number is 1. 2 divides into 3 one time. My leftovers, the part that was left over, is 1. And the denominator stays the same, so 1 1/2. All right, last one in this set. Keep, 1/5. Change the operation, flip the second fraction. And now we're ready to do our multiplication. Keep, change, flip. All right, look for places to simplify. We can't cross simplify here and can't cross simplify here, so we're ready to multiply. 1 times 6 is 6. 5 times 5 is 25. Check to see if I can reduce this, and I can't, so my answer is 6/25. Okay, so a couple of notes here about the flip part. We call that flipping, the right math term for that is called finding the reciprocal. So when we want to find the reciprocal, what we're actually doing is flipping. Well, it's not too complicated when we have just a regular fraction. So this fraction, if we flip it, becomes 2/1. This fraction, if we flip it, becomes 4/3. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2, or 2/1. The reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. Now, in order to find the reciprocal of a mixed number, we're going to have to change it into an improper fraction. So remember, that's 3 times 6 plus 1. The whole number times the denominator plus the numerator gives us the new numerator. So 3 times 6 is 18 plus 1 is 19. And the denominator stays the same. And now we can flip that and make that 6/19. All right, same thing now with 7 2/3. 7 times 3 is 21. plus 2. So we're 7 times 3 plus 2. So 21 plus 2 gives us 23, and we keep that denominator. So changing 7 2/3 into an improper fraction becomes 23 over 3. And when we flip that or take the reciprocal, it's 3 over 23. We just take the bottom number, flip it up to the top, take the top number, flip it down to the bottom. Now 5, remember, any whole number can be made a fraction by simply putting the fraction bar with a 1 underneath it. And then when we flip that, that would become 1/5. So 5 and 1/5 are reciprocals. 12 over 1, make that 1/12. 12 and 1/12 are reciprocals. Okay, so now that we know this information, we can go over here and do our work with our mixed numbers here. All right, so again, we're going to do the process where we're going to keep the first fraction the same. We're going to change the operation, and then we're going to flip the second fraction. The second fraction gets flipped. All right, so here we go. 3 1/2 divided by 3/2. I'm going to multiply, then add. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Denominator stays the same, so that's 7/2 divided by 3/2. Now we're going to take our 7/2, change our operation, and flip our second fraction so that we're ready to do our multiplication. All right, here we go. Check for places to cross simplify. I see that both of these can be divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 3 is 3. Now my answer is 7/3. Now that I'm done, I do need to change that back into a mixed number. So 3 divides into 7 2 times with 1 left over, and the denominator stays the same. So just a reminder how that looks. We've got 7 divided by 3. 3 divides into 7 2 times. That's 6, 1 left over. All right, let's do our next one. We've got 4/5 divided by 1 1/10. So first we need to change the 1 1/10 to an improper fraction. 1 times 10 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So this is 4/5 divided by 11 over 10. 11 over 10 is the same as 1 1/10. So we keep the first fraction, we change the operation to multiplication, and we flip the second fraction. So we make that 10 over 11. Look for places to cross simplify. I see that both 5 and 10 can be divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Multiply 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 11 is 11. And 8 over 11 is in simplest form. We cannot simplify that. All right, next problem, 1 1/2 divided by 2 1/4. Well, they're both mixed numbers, so we have to change both of them to improper fractions. 1 times 2 plus 1. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So our first fraction is 3/2, divided by 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 4. We're going to do our keep, change, flip. So keep the first fraction, change the operation to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. Now we're ready to cross simplify. 2 and 4 will both divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 3 and 9 will both divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now we're ready to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. 2/3 cannot be reduced or simplified, so 2/3 is my answer there. All right, bottom one in this set, here we go. We've got 2 7/10 divided by 3 3/5. We're going to change this to an improper fraction by multiplying 2 times 10 and adding 7. 27. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 7 is 27. Denominator stays the same over 10. Divided by 3 times 5 plus 3. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 3 is 18, so divided by 18/5. Now we're going to initiate our protocol here, or our algorithm, keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep our first fraction. We're going to change our operation to multiplication, and we're going to flip the second fraction. Keep, change, flip, keep, change, flip. All right, I see here that I can divide both of these by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Both of these divide by 9. So 27 divided by 9 is 3. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. And that cannot be simplified in any way, so we're done there at 3/4. All right, let's look at some examples here with whole numbers then. We've got 1/2 divided by 5. We're going to change that to 1/2 divided by 5/1. Now we'll do our keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction, change the operation to multiplication, flip the second fraction. Check for places to cross simplify. There aren't any. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. 1/10 cannot be reduced, so we're done there. 7/10 divided by 2. 7/10 divided by 2/1. Now we'll keep the first fraction, change the operation to multiplication, flip the second fraction. 7 times 1 is 7. 10 times 2 is 20. 7/20 is our answer there. All right, next one. Change the whole number to 10/1 divided by 8/2. Now we'll do our keep the first fraction, change the operation, flip the second one. Check for places to cross simplify. You see that both 10 and 8 can be divided by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. And 4 times 1 is 4. That's an improper fraction, so we can't leave it that way. And so I'm going to change that. 4 divides into 10 2 times with 2/4 left over, and that can be reduced. 2/4 can be reduced to 1/2. So 2 and 1/2. All right, so you try this section over here, see how that goes, and then check in with the next video to see how you did.